G'day Dark Realmers, it's horror author and illustrator Michael J. Elliott here with you again, and today I've got another movie review for you. And today we're looking at M.Night Shyamalan's new release, Split. Let's get started. Okay, Dark Realmers, now I wanted to see this movie for a long time, okay? I've always had a fascination with mental illness, psychopathic personalities, sociopathic personalities, and my current work in progress is called Sprinkles, and that deals with a sociopathic murderer. And so I look at movies like this a little bit like research and how a director and a writer has created these characters, okay? Now, before I give you my take on the movie, I'll just explain the plot a little bit, okay? Now, it starts off, we have three girls and they're just about to leave a birthday party. Two of the girls, with a father, one of the girls' fathers, and the third girl's looking out the window waiting to be picked up, and she's a bit of an outsider. That's Casey, and she's played by Anna Joy Taylor. And the two girls say, oh no, we won't. And the father says, no, we'll take her with us, like that's fair. So they get into the car and Casey's in the front and she looks out the side mirror and sees spilled takeaway food and the father isn't there. The next thing we know, James McEvoy's character, or characters, because there's 23 of them, hops in the car and the girls at the back say, excuse me, sir, you've gotten into the wrong car. And straight away he puts on a mask and sprays them with knockout spray. And Casey's character is sort of trying to edge her moment to find the right time when she can leave the car. Well, she pulls on the door handle and, of course, the engine's engaged, so that gives out a warning signal. Now, that sets up the premise where they're captured, okay? Now, I was a little bit pulled out of the moment right there, Dark Realmers, because I don't know of any sort of knockout spray that works that quickly, or, they can just spray in towards their face and people collapse instantly, okay? But I thought, no, I won't let that sort of detract from the story for me. And we find the girls in a locked room, and they've got a bathroom, and the next thing, one of the characters comes in and he demands one of the girls follow him out, and of course we're thinking something really horrible is going to happen. And then she comes back in and she's told the girls, oh my God, he wanted me to dance for him. Okay. Then we cut to where most of the storyline unfolds, and that's where Barry, who is one of the more reasonable personalities, is talking to his psychiatrist, Dr. Karen Taylor, who's played by Betty Buckley. And he says, I'm fine. And she says, well, why have you, basically emailed me, early hours of the morning asking for an emergency appointment? Oh, I was just, just feeling a bit anxious, but I'm fine now. Okay, and in between this, we see the girls trying to escape, and they find that above them, the really cheap wood, they knock it away with their shoe, and they find that there's a grate up there that they can lift and escape. Okay, and after when this is going on, the girls gradually see some of the other personalities. Now, there's Miss Patricia, and she's a very genteel, nice lady character who feeds the girls and so forth. Then there's Hedwig, who's actually a 9-year-old boy, and he's very innocent and very, oh, we can't do this. And of course the girls are screaming, oh, we've got to escape. But it's only Casey who realises that the key to them escaping is to deal with these personalities as they emerge and, interact with them in the way that you would if you were talking to someone who was really a 9-year-old boy or a woman or so forth. Now, I've got to give a huge, kudo to James McEvoy, because he plays this character who has associative personality disorder, which is what they call now split personality. He plays it so well because at the drop of a hat, he changes like that. His vocal inflection, his mannerisms, and that's just brilliant acting, okay? Now, the reason these girls have been captured is because, as they're told by one of the personalities, the 24th personality is about to emerge, and that 24th personality is called the Beast, and it's very powerful and it's very scary and so forth, and they're going to feed the Beast. Okay, now we cut back and we have Dr. Taylor, and she's talking to Barry, who's supposed to be the most reasonable. He has an interest in fashion design and so forth. And she says, well, what's this story about the Beast? And he says, oh, it's how Kevin, I think one of the personalities' names is, frightens the other personalities. He tells Hedwig and Miss Patricia that the Beast is huge, muscular. He's incredibly strong, and he has skin like a rhino, and that is meant to keep them away from the light. Now, what the light is, it's a little bit like a coping mechanism that his psychiatrist has taught him, that the characters, when they take over, are almost underneath a spotlight in his mind, okay? And they have centre stage, they're in control, and then they move away and someone else. So it's a way of them basically being in control. Now, Dr. Taylor says, look, there is no 24th personality, okay? It's just something that one of your personalities has invented to try and scare the others, and it may be because you have a repressed memory about something else, okay? Now, James McEvoy's character was sexually abused by his uncle as a young boy, and that's given rise to these personalities. Now, the story basically cuts between that and the girls' escape attempts, okay, where Miss Patricia will come in, take one of them out and feed them and be nice to them. And we're sort of taken between his sessions with the psychiatrist and the girls, okay? Now, Dr. Taylor believes, or has a theory, that people who have undergone associative personality disorders, their brain has learnt some way to create new skills for them. And she goes on to quote the story of a blind woman who had associative personality disorder. And one of her personalities could actually see, and the brain had actually repaired the optic nerve. And she wants to present this theory at a forum, but she's a little bit way out, and they don't want. So she's allowed to talk about it via, Skype and so forth. Now, as soon as you know that, that's what she believes, and we've been told about this beast, you know that it's going to happen, okay? We're going to see this beast, this 24th personality emerge, okay? And the race, or the tension, is meant to be where it will actually occur and how, and will the girls escape before it happens, okay? Now, that's the basic premise without giving away the ending, okay? Okay, so for a movie that I was so looking forward to see, I was really disappointed. Now, there are some brilliant movies about associative personality disorder out there. You may have seen Sally Field in Sybil, which was a true story. That was brilliant. Not horrifying, but it was a great psychological drama. Well, M. Night Shyamalan has failed this really badly, Dark Realmers. Now, you may remember I tell you, or I've told you in the past about something that we writers try to avoid, and that's called show, don't tell. And that's where a writer will say, and she went to the shop and we bought some picnic ingredients. Then we went on the picnic, and it's basically telling the reader, instead of getting the reader involved, it's sort of like you're meant to sort of say, and as they walk down the street, you know, the autumn leaves were tumbling down, and get the reader involved, okay? Now, this happens too in movies, and in movies it's called an exposition dump. Now, we're basically given the entire plot or the background to James McEvoy's character through a few sessions with the psychiatrist. She says things like, oh, you know, you've done better than any of my other patients. You know, you've been 10 years at your job and they're so happy with you. We don't find that out. We're told that, okay? So there's no interest there, okay? The other thing that happens too, as I said, this being told the beast will emerge. There's no tension because even though the psychiatrist doesn't believe it, the other personalities believe it, and we're sitting there going, it's going to happen. So where is the tension? You know, where is this, you know, oh my goodness, you know, is there really a beast, or is this a figment of one of his personalities' mind, so forth? I wasn't engaged at all with that, okay? And the other problem was the girl characters. Now, apart from Casey, who is slightly interesting, I'll say that, she knows, as I've mentioned, how to interact with these characters. And don't get me wrong, she still wants to try and escape, but she thinks about it more. The other two girls are more like cardboard cutouts from horror movies. Oh my God, we're going to die. Oh my God. All that sort of thing. And really, you know what? It's horrible to say because they're only actresses, but I didn't care. I really didn't care if they got out or not. I mean, they were just annoying. There was nothing about them that I found even remotely interesting because M. Night Shyamalan hadn't written them like that. And they come across as, you know, screaming with no... hang on, let's think about this, okay? It's all emotion with them. And that's the trouble, because if they stop and think or took notice of Casey, they would, you know, learn that, oh, okay, she's right, okay, she has something, you know, that she knows something, or she can perhaps talk her way out of this for us, okay? Now, one of the reviews I read, because look, I don't usually check professional reviews just to see if it was me being stupid in the way I thought about a movie, but I read a few, and every review I read said the same thing. And one review stuck in my mind where the reviewer said, if M. Night Shyamalan really wanted to, you know, to get the blood pumping and the adrenaline flowing with characters who were terrified, all he had to do was look at John Carpenter's Halloween and start taking some notes. And yeah, I tend to agree. There's some great examples of pulse-pounding terror, and sorry, this isn't one of them, okay? The girls escape once, of course, they're dragged back. Now, what I found too, Pat, was that the personality that finds them is the one that captured them in the first place, okay? Now, these personalities tend to snap like that, okay? The girls never know which character is going to enter the room. So why was it that the character that captured them happened to be the one to recapture them? Why couldn't it have been, you know, Miss Patricia or the 9-year-old boy, and Miss Patricia saying, look, you must go back, you know, he'll get very angry and so forth. And that would have built up the tension a lot more. But instead, we know that they're going to be taken back. And because this character, I mean, not that I wish that on the characters, you know, that's something really nasty, like he mutilates them or anything. but there's no tension. You don't feel that he's going to do anything basically to them, because, you know, one of the actual characters says he's been told not to touch you because, you know, you're saved for the beast, okay? So without giving away too much, Casey manages to escape, and she does confront the beast, okay? And this is where M. Night Shyamalan is famous for, you know, the bit of supernatural, or, you know, it starts off very ordinary, and we have, you know, something that's not quite human, or, you know, shouldn't exist. Now, the beast personality can basically climb up walls and ceilings a bit like Spider-Man, and yeah, okay, I just found that a little bit, okay, they could have, you know, they could have done a lot more with that, okay? Now, even the psychiatrist, Dr. Taylor, says, you know, there's examples of people who have changed their own body chemistry just through the force of their mind, you know, and they've, you know, gotten taller and filled out and so forth like that. So we've basically been given a blueprint of what's going to happen to this character. And where's, you know, where's the interest then? If you've been told, you know, in your face by the writer and director, look, this is what's going to happen, but hang around because it gets really creepy, how much time are you going to invest in it, okay? Now, one of the things, interesting things, Dark Realmers, is that, as I've told you about show don't tell and exposition dumps and so forth, researchers have recently been doing some tests and so forth, and they've found out that people's attention span has basically decreased since the advent of social media. We're living in a society where it's instant, bang, 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 bang. We want that video, we want it now, we want the punchline now. And so if you don't grab your audience, you've lost them, okay? And, you know, for me, the fact that I would never normally do this, but I found myself going to my phone checking Facebook because I had no interest in the character. I'd glance up and I would give it my attention then. And I was desperately hoping there would be some sort of tension, something there. But it just wasn't there, Dark Realmers. Now, it was a brilliant plot device. It was an incredibly interesting story if, and the big if it had been basically executed a lot better, okay? So for a movie that could have gone in a lot of different directions, okay, it stagnated. It just didn't go anywhere. I mean, we basically, as I said, moved from Dr. Taylor to the girls, Dr. Taylor, the girls, and there's an occasional flashback of the young James McEvoy, and the scenes where we don't see his uncle sexually assault him naturally, but we see what precedes it. And I just wonder, why did we need that, okay? It's a few scenes just spread out, randomly placed, and of course, yes, it's much better that we actually saw it rather than we got told about it, but we already knew. So there was really no need for that unless, you know, the writer and director had somehow perhaps put in a little twist or a little plot device that made us go, oh, hang on, that wasn't mentioned, or so forth, okay? So there you go, Dark Realmers. That's my review of Split, okay? Now, as I said, it's a movie that had a lot of potential that fell down. Now, the ending has been left deliberately ambiguous, and there's vague possibility that M.Night Shyamalan may be doing a sequel. But the way it was reviewed and the personal reviews of people who actually just moviegoers makes me think that the studios aren't going to be too keen on doing a sequel to this, because if you can't get the audience totally terrified and engaged in the first movie, people aren't going to take the chance on a sequel, okay? Sequels come about because a movie has been hugely phenomenal, okay, and I think this may have done well, okay, or just average at the box office, but in terms of plot, no, it's not something you would be lining up to queue up for your sequels, okay, for your tickets. Okay, Dark Realmers, now I hope you've enjoyed my totally brutal review of Split, okay. I had a lot of fun bringing this to you. And let me know, if you've seen the movie yourself, let me know what you thought in the comments below. If you have liked the way I've reviewed this movie, give us a thumbs up, okay? And don't forget to subscribe to us for some more movie reviews. I've actually got a brilliant one coming up. And this came about because after I'd watched Split, another movie came on and it instantly grabbed my attention. I had no idea what it was. I'd never heard of it before, and it's brilliant. And I'll be reviewing that very, very soon. So there you go, Dark Realmers. As I always say, please stay in the light, and I'll see you again very, very soon. Bye for now.